Hey third graders, so in this video we're going to be showing you guys how to make a Google Doc, a Google document using your Google account, which is what we kind of showed you throughout this week on how to do that with our research question, whether it was about the lesser jerboa or the hermit crab. So I'm going to take you through the steps on how to do it. I recommend pausing the video where needed and obviously rewinding and going back so that you can kind of do it step by step with me if you still haven't had an opportunity to try it out on your own, or if you're feeling like a little confused about it. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen now. So the first thing is to make sure that you are logged in. Now this is using a laptop or a computer, so it's a little bit easier when you're on the laptop or computer, but it's definitely something that you can do on your tablet. You would just have to download Google Docs in order to create a document on your tablet. And then you would just use the keyboard that you have built in your tablet in order to type. So when I go to Google, I already know that I'm signed in as one of our students because I can see it. I've been using Brenda's account, Brenda Salgado's account as an example. And I know it's hers because if I move my little cursor over the letter or over that icon, it shows me that it's her email. Now, we typically ask you to go to Google Classroom, right? But this time, I'm going to ask you to go to Google Docs. So all you have to do is click over the icon that says, it's like a little blue paper, and then it says Docs in order to open it. Now, if this is the first time that you're creating a document, you are going to click the blank option in order to create one. I made one with my class. I made this with my class. I think she also worked on hers separately, so I think she's got it. I'm just gonna show you guys how to do this. So you're gonna click on the blank option like I mentioned, and it should take you to a new document. It's gonna be completely blank and it's gonna have all these things up at the top, but you don't have to necessarily worry about all of those little options. I'm gonna show you the options that you really do wanna pay attention to and you wanna utilize and kind of explore. So the first thing I always ask my third graders to do is to title the document so it doesn't get lost. So I'm going to call this, and all I have to do is I have to click on this box up here and it says Untitled Document. So I just click into it, it turns blue, and I can press delete or backspace. And now I'm going to title this Hermit Crab Research. Okay, and then I'm going to press enter so it saves it. You can see it's saving it already. It says save to your drive. We'll talk about your drive at the end of the video, but it's basically a place where we save, it saves your documents. So the second really important thing, and you know what, I'm gonna pause here. If you wanna go do that right now, so you're following step by step and you're doing it along with me, go ahead and do that right now. And pause and come back. All right, if you're back, right? You've unpaused me, which means you tried it. So now the second thing that I think is very important is to share the document with whomever is your teacher, right? So in this case, if you were in my class, you would be sharing it with me. And so you have to click the share button, which I did, and it says add people in groups. So if they're in my class, they're gonna type my name, right? I don't even have to type the rest of my email because it starts to pop up. They just have to start writing my first name, which is Shazi, and they would just click me. And then they would click send, okay? But some of you have Miss Carrillo, so you might have to type Stephanie, because that's her first name, and you would click it. You would send it to her. Or if you're Miss Godina small group, so Miss Genesis Godina, you would just type her name. Or same as with Mr. Garcia, right? You would just have to start typing his first name and he pops up and you can see his face there. So you'd click it, like I said earlier, and then you would click send. I'm gonna again do it with mine just to show you one more time. So Shazi, period, Maldonado, it pops up. And the thing is, I want that clicked in, or I want that little check mark, because it lets me know, or lets us know when you've sent something to us. And so then you would just have to click send. The other thing I want you to notice is that because we titled it Hermit Crab Research, the title is there for us. So as teachers, that is so much easier for us to find your documents or look at them when they have titles. So then all we would have to do is click send. Okay. So we've done 2 very important so far. If you want to pause me now so that you can go share your document with your teacher, go do that. And we're back. All right. So the next thing we're going to do has to do with some like fun stuff with your font. I say you say font at home. So if you're ever like looking at a document that a teacher, like a paper that your teacher's given you for a homework or a letter to your parents, and you wondered like, how do they make that? Well, we make stuff on here all the time, okay? And we get to play around with font. Font is the way that your letters look. And there's different styles, which is the fun part of Google Docs or writing a document. How do we find font? Well, our fonts are in alphabetical order, and there's so many of them. So the first one is called Arial. And so if I click on it, I can see all the different examples that I have. And these are ones that I typically utilize or I typically use. And so those are like my top ones. But I like to kind of explore. So if you're like, I don't like those and you want to choose a different one, all you have to click on is more fonts. And when you do that, then you can scroll down. There's a scroll bar which allows you to move up and down and look at your options slowly, or you can even use this little button down here to go slowly as well. And you can just kind of scan and see if there's one that really stands out to you that you're like, I really like that one. I want to use that one. And I can keep going and going and going until I find something I really, really like. Like, I know I can keep going, but I kind of like this one, the one that says Indie Flower. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click OK. All right, how do I know that font is going to be the font that I've chosen? It says it up here. If I end up wanting to change it, I can. And I need a title for my page, right? And we already have the title up at the top, but I want it on the actual page. And so what I'm gonna do is I want to center my title because I think it looks nice when it's centered. So there's an option here to align. So if you look on this toolbar, there's these like little lines. These are all to the left, but if you click on that little arrow or drop down menu, you're gonna see an option to center. That's the second one. And you can tell because everything's like going towards the middle. So I'm gonna click on it, and then I'm gonna start writing. So Hermit Crab, ooh, I think that's a little too small for my title at least. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click backspace until I get rid of it. And then I'm gonna change the size of my font. And I'm gonna just play around with the font, maybe not too big. Let me just try 18 and see how big it is. Let's see, that looks a little bit bigger. So Hermit Crab Research. Ooh, I like it. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I want to play around more with Google Docs. I want to give it some color. You can totally do that. So like, let's say I want to make this red. I can highlight what I want to make a different color. And you're probably like, where's the color, Miss Maldonado? Well, it's very close up here. So we have everything that has to do with your font is like in this little area. So this would make it bold. So I can make it bold. If I don't want it bold, I just click it again. I can italicize or make the words slanted, but I don't want to do that either. I can also make them bold or underline them if I want. But I want color right now. So if I click on this one, it has black underneath, but if you click on it, it shows you all the colors. And so I'm gonna make that part red. And guess what? I'm gonna make it, oh, why not? Make it a little stronger or bolder. And then I'm gonna highlight the research part And I'm just gonna make that like a dark blue. And I'm gonna also bold it. All right, so now we have hermit crab research, and now what we're gonna do is we're going to click enter, and now we are going to, we can choose another color, why not? Let's do start red. And then I'm gonna write by, and then I'm gonna write my name because this one's by me. But if it were yours, you would write by you, right? You're gonna write your whole name. All right, so pause right now so that you can go play around with your title, the color, the font, the size of it, and then come back. All right, you're back. Let's say you made a super big mistake and you made this like size, I don't know, size 40. Like that's very big, right? So if you make a mistake, I love this thing about Google Docs where you can just press the undo button until you get rid of that thing. Or you can just delete what you just wrote, but like I can just undo it. So you see that, how easy that was? So if you're back, now we're gonna proceed to the next part. We talked about formulating questions or thinking of questions, coming up with questions about the hermit crab video that you guys watched. Just as a reminder, let me just show you really quickly. I'm not going to show you the whole video because you guys have already seen it. But let me see, YouTube, and then it's all about BBC, not now, hermit crab. It was this one. This is the one we watched, and you guys noticed that they get in a queue, or they get into a line from largest to smallest in order to exchange shells. And I know in my classes we were talking about like the things that you guys noticed, and then we proceeded to think about questions that we could research. And so one question that we definitely had, so notice how I did that. I press enter, and then I'm going to press enter one more time, and I'm going to press backspace so that I'm all the way to the left side. We don't always have to have everything centered. That's typically like our title and like maybe our name, okay? So now I can maybe choose another color if I want. Feeling adventurous, let's do purple. So we could write question. And the cool thing about Google Docs is sometimes it anticipates or it predicts what you're gonna type. So as soon as I started writing like the QU, it's like, oh, question. So you can click or press tab, and it types the rest of it for you. So question that I have, or that we have about hermit crabs, was why do hermit crabs exchange shells? That was the big question that we had. And so now we're going to research that question, read about it, put it in our own words, because friends, it's really important to not copy, okay? It's really, 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 really important to not copy word for word. If you do that in high school or college, you can get into big trouble about it, okay? It's a bad idea because it's like you're stealing somebody else's sentences. So we're gonna research, we're gonna read about it, and then we're gonna turn that into our own sentences. And we'll see, maybe we'll do 3 to 5 sentences today. And then the last part is that we're gonna add a picture. Okay, here we go. So now, do I have to close everything out to go research? No. The lovely part of having a laptop is that you can add a new tab, or if you're on the tablet, you can just switch to your search engine or whatever you have that allows you to search things up. So now I'm going to just go straight to Google, and I'm going to look up, why do hermit crabs change shells? Okay. I also want to show you, Google is like my all-time favorite, but there's also another one that is like Google's little sister, and it's called Kiddle.co. And I love it because it targets it specifically for kids. So I like to use both and see if I get more information from one or the other. So I'm going to type the same question. Why do hermit crabs change shells? Okay. So it's kind of showing me some more information. Let's try it. We're going to click on this one and then we'll go back to Google. Now here's the thing, guys. If you're researching, you got to read. Like, that's important. So it says hermit crabs line up to exchange their shells, and like, what do you know? They're using the video we watched. So I'm gonna read a little bit. There's an extraordinary sight in this clip from the BBC's Life Story, narrated by Sir David Attenborough. A line of hermit crabs self-arranges from smallest to largest. They're ready and waiting to exchange their shells, but why? Attenborough explains that as a crab grows, its shell becomes an even tighter fit. So eventually the crabs need to move into a bigger one. And so these small decapod crustaceans, ooh, juicy word, but juicy word for hermit crabs, have organized, hopefully, ensuring that each one will quickly find and move into a slightly larger mobile home. So they have pictures, and then they have related videos, right? Changes its shell. So it kind of gives us the information there. I'm going to use that info. I'm going to go back. It said, as a crab grows, its shell becomes an even tighter fit. So eventually the crabs need to move into a bigger one. So I'm going to go back to my research. So hermit crabs, or we're going to write after researching why hermit crabs exchange shells, I discovered one reason is that their shells become too small for them as they continue to grow. And using what I know from the video, they form a group of hermit crabs form into a line or a queue, because that's the word that they use in the video, or a queue from largest to smallest in order to make the exchange in the hopes of getting a just right shell, right? And we see it in the video. Unfortunately, there's one like little tiny one, and this big little hermit crab comes in, and he's like, he takes over, right? He takes one of the shells over, and so the smaller one is left without a very good shell. In fact, the narrator says, well, this one, you know, he didn't get a better shell, and it has a hole in it, right? So I already wrote a little bit, but as researchers, we want to maybe see if we can find a little bit more info. So I'm going to just go to the top. Sometimes I love that Google does this, where it gives you like a snippet to your answer. So here it says, as the crabs grow, they periodically need to upgrade their housing to bigger shells. When a new shell appears on the beach, the crabs will form a orderly queue nearby and then change shells all at once, with each crab moving into the next biggest shell, just abandoned by its former occupant. Well, I'm thinking, like, why do they change so much? So why do hermit crabs change shells often? Let me see if it says anything aside from what we've discovered. So here it says hermit crabs change shells for 3 reasons. They're preparing to molt. They just finished molting. Well, I know molting means like they're transforming or they're getting bigger. Or they have found a shell that they like better compared to their current one. So just keep in mind that this depends on the hermit crab species. So let's see. I'm going to go back to my document. Other reasons why hermit crabs exchange shells is that sometimes they need to molt, which means get bigger, or they find a shell they like more. All right, so I know I'm finished, but guess what? Writers are never finished. They always go back, they reread, they think to themselves, is this the best? Am I missing a word? Did I make a mistake? Did I capitalize? Did I miss punctuation? Those are the things that you should constantly think about after you've written something, okay? Adults do it all the time. So let's check. After researching why hermit crabs exchange shells, I discovered one reason is that their shells become too small for them as they continue to grow. A group of hermit crabs form into a line or a queue from largest to smallest in order to make the exchange in the hopes of getting a just right shell. Other reasons why hermit crabs exchange shells is that sometimes they need to molt, which means means they get bigger or they find a shell they like more. I want to add something because I remember in the video he said, like, if they don't have a shell, they could burn to death, right? Like, it's protection. Or they can get attacked and eaten by predators, like a seagull. So I want to add something about that at the end. Most importantly, hermit crabs need shells so that they can protect themselves from the hot tropical sun and from predators like seagulls. Wow. This is like a juicy paragraph. Like, I have a lot of information about why they have to change shells and why it's important for them. And if I were a student and I'm the teacher of the student, I'd be like, this is a juicy, juicy paragraph. I have so much information. I'm using juicy words. I've looked for capitalization. I've looked for punctuation. I reread it to make sure it's like the best quality. And now I can add a fun picture. So, and I also want to change the color of my paragraph. Why not? Because I want to make it colorful. So maybe this time I'll make this like a dark pink. I like it. And let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's do size 14. And one thing I forgot to say, but when you start a new paragraph, you might have noticed in books or in anything your teacher's giving you when it's the beginning of a new paragraph, you have to leave a space at the beginning. And that, by doing that, or how to do that, is you have to go to the beginning of the word, that first word, and just go in front of it, and you're gonna press tab. And so it's indented, or you left a space there. That tells you it's a paragraph, or it's a new paragraph. So I'm looking at my document, it looks good. I'm gonna go to the end of my paragraph and I'm gonna press enter. And maybe enter one more time, why not? And now I want to add a picture. I wanna make this as simple as possible. There's another way to do it, but I'm gonna keep this simple today for you. I'm going to click insert, and then I'm gonna go to image. And there's other ways to do this, but we're gonna focus on search the web so that you don't have to save anything to your tablet, to your computer to make it complicated. We don't wanna complicate things. So we're gonna click search the web. And then this box on the side should pop up for you, and it says search for images. And so what am I looking for? I'm looking for hermit crab. And the awesome thing is it gives me options, and I can scroll down and I can find one that I like. And let me see. There's so many. I like that one, why not? And so I click it, but then you have to click insert. Insert is just another juicy word for add, to add something. And now let's see if it's too big. Let me scroll down. Ooh, that's a big picture. Okay, watch me as I do this. I click on the picture, it's too big. Boxes, snooze. these little blue boxes come up when I do that, and so I can just drag my arrow to make it smaller. And now I'm gonna scroll up to see what it looks like. Do I like it? Do I wanna make it a little bit smaller? Sure, why not? And then, oh, I kind of wish it was centered. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna click on my picture and I'm gonna go to those little lines again. I'm gonna click on my drop-down menu and I'm gonna center that. And now I have a completed Google Doc and it looks fantastic. So I hope you guys take your time watching this video. I hope you really try it out. I want to highlight, shout out Itzel from our cheetah group from Miss Maldonado's class. Itzel did a fantastic job with her own document without using this video. I showed them how to do it in class and during our virtual time this week, and she just took it upon herself and she got it done. So good job, Itzel. See you guys later. Have a great evening.